Hi, my name is Sharlot Eisentraut, and I am with Engineered Business Solutions. I am the transformative leadership consultant at Engineered Business Solutions, where we help business owners lead their team and their business to success. So, as always, like if you enjoy the video, share. If you know of someone who could really benefit, and of course, subscribe and even tickle that little bell icon if you're so interested in learning more about what it is that we do. And for updates on our content, also if you're interested in the services that EBS provides, go to ebsarizona.com right now to see how we can help you lead your business to success. All right, so today's subject is humbling, to say the least. Today's subject is 17 strategies in the art of regaining faith in leadership. So I have originally as the art of losing faith, or like breaking faith, like metaphorically, right? In leadership and getting back up. So, but it's really about the 17 strategies in the art of getting back up and regaining faith, regaining your sense of self. A lot of people, like, say for instance things like going through midlife crises, or just going through a really big setback, or going through significant challenges or issues. Sometimes that comes up in life, and in such cases, it's normally when we feel like we have the least amount of control over what's happening that kind of that can make the challenge or the trauma or the obstacle that much worse, right? And these are all the strategies that you can use in order to regain your footing and get back on the road that you feel is best suited for you and your company, right? So, and this does include leadership. So, real quick, in order to fully embrace the subject that we're talking about today, I took it upon myself. I did a lot of effort in not putting on makeup, not brushing out my hair, and not having spotless look, because one of the things that happens when we have a significant breakdown or we significantly lose face is that it ends up showing up externally. So my hair isn't brushed. I don't have any makeup on. This shirt, like, the buttons are definitely off. It's taking me a lot of work just not to even, correct it, because this is kind of like a part of embracing that imperfection that comes from experiencing crisis and losing face. Okay, so this is all about, getting back up. It's that strength of getting back up. It's the tools that leaders need to use when they get back up, when they regain their footing. Because this has happened to me. I speak in part because this has happened to me. I know that it's happening right now. We are in the middle of a part of being in the middle of a pandemic, and therefore be stuck at home all the time. It means that a lot of us are wearing our pajamas, which I am also doing because when you lose face, there's gonna be external factors that sort of show up as a part of losing face when you're under a lot of anxiety and frustration and anger and whatever else is going on in your life. If you're having a lot of these troubles, it shows up in how you present yourself. And so I'm presenting myself from that perspective of somebody who has lost face. I am not now, like not mentally, but again, it's being able to say, showing that from the outside, right? So in order to really put myself into the mindset, it kind of really makes a lot of sense to then uh, dress the part, if you will, even if this isn't the most, professionally dressed or whatever. Or say you have, as an example too, as a way to see this externally, is in terms of seeing whether people are really anxious and stressed out or frustrated, is looking at how they dress themselves, looking at how they're taking care of themselves, or even like it can even be signs of depression. Depression, though, although depression sometimes does have its internal reasons, depression can also have its external reasons, and it does not help anybody in leadership, followership, or team work to deny our emotions. It doesn't actually work very well. It doesn't actually work very well in the setting that is keeping your composure. So, or saving face or regaining face, right? So anyway, speaking of, let's get to the good stuff. All right. So, number 1 in strategies for regaining face in leadership is to be completely honest with yourself. Be completely honest with what exactly happened, trying to figure out who or why it happened, and then accepting that. So it's part of radical acceptance. A natural disaster occurred, a pandemic hit, a trauma occurred, we're going through a significant financial meltdown. Like, these are things that cause a lot of trauma. As a, as an example, if you, like, I have here secondary as denial can go a long way, but that doesn't mean denial in terms of what you let show. Like, there's certain points where it is that certain times where it works in your favor to keep a poker face. There are times, it's not all the time necessarily, but there are situations where keeping a poker face and being able to say everything is fine, even if it's not, can be helpful. Sometimes it's not, but anyway, but the most important part is being completely honest with yourself. Completely honest. So that then, because if you're not completely honest, it's the same thing, or it could be the same thing as pushing it under the rug or pretending that it doesn't exist. And while it is that we can pretend that something doesn't exist for very long, when it's something that has, like, external things that happen to us still affect our psychology. Even as we grow and develop and we age, our environment still affects us. The people who we hang around, the things that we see, the things that we do still affects our psychology, and therefore how we interact with the rest of the world. So when you're completely honest with yourself, you are admitting that the world isn't perfect, but it helps you get another step closer to the goal of finding solutions that will work, or that will hopefully work, or even just trying a solution rather than just, oh, it's not in my power. Like, when you understand, as a part of being completely honest with yourself, when you admit to yourself fully what you can and cannot control, that is hugely empowering. That's a part of being completely honest. Number two is to work through and with your emotions. So, uh, anger and sadness are often one of those emotions that kind of go together. Um, they go together because anger often covers sadness. And a lot of the times, or at least in this culture, or possibly in many cultures, it's much more socially acceptable to be angry than it does to be sad. Um, but working through your emotions and being able to say, like, even though I'm angry, I understand that there's emotion underneath this, or even just being able to say, you know what, I'm really frustrated right now. Your emotions tell you what is going on. So there's a myth in business that you should leave your emotions at the door. But we know that emotions actually really help us make choices. Emotions do have some level of logic to them when we make decisions, or the actions that we take, or the people that we talk to, or how it is that we talk to people. And especially in leadership, you need to be able to talk to people, even if it's somebody who is a leader of another team. You still need to lead that leader, right? Like, uh, especially as a part of a business. So you got to work through and with the emotions of what's coming up, and name them. Naming your emotions is incredibly important. This I like not everybody. Okay, so doesn't school is all knowledge and logic based. And one of the things that is really helpful when you have a lot more social experience, or that you allow yourself to understand your emotions, that is a huge benefit, because because your emotions tell you in live action, in the now, what is going on around you. Are your boundaries being pushed or destroyed, or um, are you do you see an emergency? Do you sense an emergency? Is there a is there a project that needs to be done right away? Is there a person in the office who is toxic? Is there somebody who isn't doing their work? Is there boundaries that need to be set? Like, these are our emotions tell you what is going on around you, and it actually helps elevate how much you know about your environment and how much you know about what's going on in your business. And the more in tune you are with your emotions, and being able to say that this emotion, like, not only do I feel this emotion, but also this emotion is connected to this reason. Um, like, we don't, emotions often have a reason. Otherwise, they're usually internal. So, but working through and with your emotions really help you regain face, because they help you get to a point. Ultimately, in order to regain face, we're trying to get ourselves to a point where we are sort of neutralized, where we can think logically, where we can react from a healthy place, whatever healthy means, which doesn't healthy, normal, react from a normal place, which doesn't actually exist, but reasonably normal. So, as a part of the art of regaining face in leadership, is having a poker face on occasion, or like another way is to strategically what's called strategically keep secrets or strategically tell the truth. So as a part of Poker Face, you don't necessarily tell everybody about your problems. Not don't hang your laundry out to dry. Maybe there's one or two people who you are either friends with or that you can hire that are going to keep your what's going on a secret, so that then you can be able to logically work through it and then regain face, um, and come back stronger. Like, that's the idea too. It's like, I like that idea, coming back stronger, being improved, I'm regaining face and I'm an improved version. That's usually how I like probably after this video I'm gonna put on my best clothes, like, and maybe even sequins, because it's a part of regaining face, right? Like, this, if I this up, this is probably going to be my main thing, and of course this doesn't really look great. Like, but what is professional anyway? And especially right now, I think that with the pandemic going, there is definitely that question of how do we maintain face, right? How do we regain face even when, like, some of us there are people out there who are just very, very hurting and very alone, and they're really in pain. And even if they're doing YouTube videos, that doesn't mean that off camera they're not still feeling stuff, because right now I think a lot of people, especially in the US, are having a hard time. Isolation is not psychologically rewarding, okay? It doesn't feel good, and it's not necessarily really a humane thing. Like, I've read about or heard about people who are in prison and they have 24 hours of isolation, and at the end of it they're talking to themselves and seeing things that aren't there, not like going into deep depression, becoming even more comfortable. Like, if you're isolated for 24/7, you get to a point where it is that you're even more comfortable being completely alone than you are with other people, or so much to the point that even just being with other people is just too much. So, but even with that, even with that isolation, even with what's going on right now, hopefully these things that I'm telling you right now, that comes from my own experience of and my own faults, my own experience of falling and getting back up. Hopefully you'll find value in this, so that then you can move forward with a lot more hope and ambition and belief in yourself, because these are actually, belief in yourself is also definitely a part of regaining face, and having a, here's an extra, having an idealized version in your mind, like thinking about where it is that you want to be. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean getting lost in dreamscapes. What it means is just simply having an ideal, or an ideal route, an ideal place to be at, even if it doesn't seem realistic, so that then you keep working towards that little bit, baby steps at a time, and eventually you'll get it. Eventually you'll get there. Just keep going. Keep having hope. That's an extra. Number 7, knowing when to stay quiet and when to speak up. Now, that actually really has to do a lot with that poker face and strategically keeping secrets and strategically telling the truth. Oh, you know what? Really important. I almost missed it. Never lies. Number 6. So, lying. So it's keeping quiet, and then it's also saying stuff sometimes. But if especially in leadership, It is very important not to lie. Not saying anything is different. Being quiet is different. You don't have to show your cards all the time. You don't have to, but I mean, you don't have to show your cards all the time, but like not lying. And another way, okay, on the opposite end, think of this, okay, you're not gonna be a leader for very long or have very many friends if you lie. People like to follow people that they like. People like to follow people who they like. If you lie, it breaks down that likeness, because as a part of liking somebody includes knowing that you can trust them to a certain level. And lying right off the bat breaks, it just breaks that level of trust that could be had. And there you go. So never lie, don't lie, and especially not in leadership, especially not in leadership. If you never lie, just don't, no. That's the best way to put it. Don't lie. People see through liars. People do not want to even be associated with liars. Put it that way. People do not want to be associated with liars, so don't lie, especially not in leadership. Okay, there you go. Number 8, the fall and the recovery. So the fall doesn't feel very good. The fall will never feel very good. And often I feel like the fall or any kind of, again, it's going through a crisis, going through a trauma, going through a significant challenge that really, like, you know, rattles your psychology, or rattles your concept of reality, because sometimes that happens as well, just like on a general sense that somebody is abusive to us to the point where it is that we question our own beliefs, question our own sanity, question our own integrity, questioning our own values. And so not all the time does it happen to that point, luckily. So that's your worst case scenario. When your worst case scenario is either death, like most people go to death, right? Or that you have no concept of your own, like if you get to the point where it is that you have no concept of your own identity, you don't really know your belief systems, you're not really sure about your integrity, you don't really know your values, your entire identity has been broken, your entire like psychology has been broken, you don't know who you are anymore. That's the worst case scenario. And then of course there's another worst case scenario of what happens when we go through trauma. And PTSD or complex PTSD, in which our heart rate is constantly going, we're very paranoid, we're very scared, like those are usually part of, or we as part of PTSD also sometimes hurting others who love us. That's another thing that can happen as a reaction to very, very stressful events. Okay, these are worst case scenarios. Luckily, most of us are not really going to go through it, but a lot of us probably have at some point or another. So the fall doesn't feel very good. However, the recovery, the regaining phase, if you will, not just in leadership but also in life, the recovery the results feel good. This is how I put it. Okay, the results feel good. Getting to that point, going through those tunnels of darkness, that doesn't always necessarily feel very good. Especially if you're say, again, you're coming from worst case scenario of either PTSD or trauma, or not knowing who it is that you are anymore as a result of external circumstances or trauma, just anyway, any of these challenges, and challenges again, these challenges, issues, obstacles, that's worst case scenario for or death. So but getting through the recovery, the results feel good. Now, one of the things that that does definitely happen is number 17. I'm going to skip quite a few, but number 17 is your ego will want to keep you in your comfort zone. But in order to regain your footing in any way, shape, or form, you have to leave your comfort zone. Okay. So, your ego, like, even though you're going through challenges, a great way to think of this is, in order to get over challenges and move through obstacles and conquer your issues, is quite literally to get out of your comfort zone and utilize mentorship and consulting. I From my own personal experience, I had to utilize mentorship, essentially, in many different ways, in order for me myself to get out of the trauma that I had experienced at one point in my life, so that then I could regain and feel a whole lot better and actually like really know myself a lot more. So I'm actually way better. I feel much improved now, but that doesn't mean that everybody is going to go to that point. That is okay. It's okay to just get back to feeling normal. It is okay to take a step back and recharge. Oh, here's another extra. Sometimes, as a part of regaining, is humbling yourself enough to be able to say, I have to take a huge break from the life that I had, or the life that I was going to live, or the life that I'm supposed to live, and just taking a step back. And it's almost like taking a break from life. It's like healing your emotional wounds. One of the things that happens in terms of psychology is, or healing emotional wounds, right? Like, such as PTSD and trauma, even if, whether or not you have any like physical symptoms, you still need to take time out to heal your emotional wounds. And as in, take a break from life as much as you are comfortable with. I mean, I had to take a break from life completely. As much as I possibly could. Like, I became a hermit. But that was because the level of healing that I had to go through was very, very, very deep. It was very deep. And it just happened. It just happened that way. I don't regret anything. Let's put it that way. And I am very thankful for all the things that I've learned. And that's another extra as a part of regaining, is remembering and reminding yourself how many things you have in your life to be grateful for. This is a part of regaining phase. Like, one of the things that life will do sometimes is like smack you right up beside the head, and you have to figure out how to regain your footing, because it didn't just smack you upside the head. It was like like, it was bad. Sometimes that happens in life. And so having a good toolbox and having a good concept or an idea about how it is that you're going to recover is so valuable. So valuable. Number 9, what's the worst that could happen? What's the worst that could happen? When there's this guy on TEDx, he talks about planning for your failures or something like that. It's really, really interesting. And basically he says, like, if you honestly said to yourself, what's the worst that could happen in this particular instance that I am afraid of? of facing or of doing, or a challenge that I don't want to do, or just a simple activity that or doing an activity that in otherwise normal circumstances I would do within a heartbeat, now suddenly I have a whole lot of anxiety for. If you're having that level of frustration or anxiety, then that's when it is that you would ask yourself the question, what's the worst that could happen? And be completely honest with yourself. That's one of the things that I asked myself. And honestly, I would say that this right here is the worst that could happen. Like, I'm fully embracing and facing my fear of not looking perfect, and now that I'm here in this spot, in this situation, I feel okay. Yeah, I feel fine. This is the worst that could happen. Like, it's not like, oh my gosh, even this button is like, it looks terrible. But this is, again, like I say, this is just an external thing that happens as a part of having trouble, like, or just going through the motions of facing an obstacle, facing a challenge, facing an issue, and going through those emotions of stress, anxiety, frustration, guilt, shame. Right? So, the worst that could happen is that I talk about my feelings and I tell other people that they're not alone. And we connect over the fact that life is not perfect, but we are perfectly imperfect. Number 10. It's important not to lose peace of mind. However, it will on occasion happen when you are going through an obstacle, going through a big issue, overcoming any kind of inner demons or trauma. There will be times where you lose your peace of mind. So there will be times where you take a step back after taking 2 steps forward. As a part of even just saying that, it's really, really important to remember that you still took a step forward. So I could take 50 steps forward and 48 steps back, but I still made 2 steps forward. I still made great progress even if then I had a failure, you know. But again, it's usually best down to like 3 steps forward, 2 steps back. Again, I'm still making a step forward. Still making a step forward. Losing peace of mind does happen as a part of going through a challenge. You know, sometimes you just have that little moment where you freak out and your emotions get the best of you. But again, it's like so you let yourself go through that emotion. You know, it only really lasts a few minutes. Like the most that it will last, well, I mean, depending, but most of the time when we go through an emotion, it's gonna last like 20 minutes. Even if at the time we feel like it's the worst possible emotion and that we're gonna feel it for forever. No, 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 no. KNOW, know that it will pass and you won't feel it anymore. And just let yourself feel the doom. Just feel the anxiety. Just allow yourself, say, hey, you know what, I accept this emotion into my life, even if it's anxiety, even if it's great sadness, even if it's this, even if it's that, even if it's impending sense of doom. Eventually the emotion will pass. Eventually the emotion will pass, and then you can continue on to and remember that 2 steps forward and 2 steps back is still a step forward. You're still taking baby steps. Remember that you're taking baby steps. and that you'll get out of this. You will get out of this. I had no idea when I was going to get out of it. I thought it would just take a year, but it took 4 of deep work and a lot of psychological working on myself. And then, of course, I took a break sometimes. So that's a kind of a part of, like, even like losing peace of mind. Like, even just taking a break and being able to say, I'm just going to distract myself a little bit. So long as you're not only distracting yourself and still working on the problem, situation, challenge, obstacle, so long as you keep working on it, you're still making progress. So number 11, my favorite, the art is not in the fall, but in getting back up. So a lot of people, a lot of great minds, a lot of great people have experienced levels of failure that some of us will never really be able to comprehend. And they still got back up. J.K. Rowling lived in her car, as an example. That's the first thing. That's the only thing. Well, I like J.K. Rowling, but I grew up with the books. But at any rate, the art is not in the fall, but in getting back up. Like, even though J.K. Rowling, like, was living in her car, she still wrote an amazing story on napkins. Like, this amazing story about a boy and all his adventures that he goes through at this school. Like, wow. And I think a part of that art of getting back up was that J.K. Rowling fully embraced who she was and what she really wanted to talk about, what she really wanted to write about. Her parents wanted her to do something completely different, like focusing on something that's more stable, such as, I think it was like history of English or something, and J.K. Rowling said, "Oh, no, I refuse." And even though she was in dire straits, she stayed true to herself. I think that would be another extra. Staying true to yourself, like, and really understanding, like, your true self, cultivating, it's like you yourself cultivate and form your ideal person, your ideal situation, and it includes everything from your personality to your mindset, your viewpoints, how it is that you want to, what you want to do throughout your day. What's the main goal? What do you want on your tombstone? Like, when you know your purpose in life, like, that's a part of getting back up, is understanding that purpose. Like, why am I here? Why am I here? I know why I'm here. Do you? Number 12. There is strength in vulnerability. Now, I have not read Brene Brown's, let's see. I think it's Daring Greatly. I don't know, but I have hers, Daring Greatly, here. Oh, it's all like, it's fun. Daring Greatly. Anyway. Because Brene Brown talks a lot about vulnerabilities. And I haven't read it yet, but I know that there is strength in being vulnerable. So it's like the strength in vulnerability is not crying. People don't like crying. Cry on your own time away from other people, as much as possible, if possible. But the strength and vulnerability, say for instance, like, I am here, not perfect. And I think actually even vulnerability can be a part of just simply embracing your imperfections. And or being able to say, I am a vulnerable human because I have emotions, but I don't let that get the better of me, right? Like, I don't know, I guess that could be used in vulnerability. Another big strength actually in vulnerability is, like, for instance, I've been through something, right? Or somebody has been through something. Everybody has been through stuff, okay? We connect through our shared experiences, through our shared viewpoints, through our shared what have you. Maybe we went to the same school. Who knows, right? That is a shared thing about us. That's, or like maybe we grew up in a similar town, right? When you grow up in a similar town, that's sort of like a vulnerability that then you can turn into a strength. Because connection with people is so important and strong, and like it's good to have. Connection with others are really good to have. It helps you a lot in terms of like having a good power. Power is pretty much what I'm going to say. Connecting with people, networking with people, and really, really connecting with people can bring on a lot of power. And that means that then you too, though you with all your people or you with your team, then can then create new and amazing things and just do amazing things. Community is really amazing. Anyway, there is strength in vulnerability. Number 13, say it like it is. So that's, say it like it is very much very similar to being completely honest with yourself, and just say it like it is as much as you are able to, and the less adjectives, so the less descriptors that you have about a situation, and the more that you're able to get it down into, the more that you're able to get down into what just a sentence or two is really powerful, because then you're just saying it like it is, you know. An earthquake hit, an airplane ran into a building, my dad left me, or something. No, my dad didn't leave me, but those are examples of simplifying down what happened. Yes, there was feelings that were involved in it. That is a part of it. My cat right now is really wanting to get in. It's an indoor-outdoor cat. Anyway, but yeah, saying it like it is. It's just saying it like it is. The more simple that you're able to make it, the more that you can develop in yourself an acceptance, or a radical acceptance of your situation, so that you can keep moving forward and keep improving. 14, understand your reality fully and completely. Again, that goes with the other stuff. Hey, relax. Oh, my cat. Oh my goodness. I don't know if you can hear it. But anyway, I'm almost done. Okay. Utilize mentorship and consulting. Or any level of therapy. But utilizing mentorship, consulting, utilizing your network, utilizing your network of friends and acquaintances, that can be really empowering. Yeah, empowering, like, that's the word I was looking for. Like, when you use a network, when you use a community, it's very empowering. And then the other thing is that then you know that you're not the only one. You know that that there's other people who are struggling similar to you, and you can connect with on that, and you can both feel empowered to heal and improve and move on, and go on to create and do beautiful, amazing things. Number 16, understand that you are worth it. Understand that you are worth the amount of improvement and time that is needed for you to get better, make a difference, overcome your challenges, face your obstacles, create solutions. Like, understand that you are worth it. You are worth it to get better. You are worth it to overcome your obstacles. You are worth it to get through your issues. You're worth it to have success at your business. You are worth it. You are worth it. Understand that you are worth it. And be completely honest with yourself. You are worth it. I give you permission. You are worth it. Alright, so, as always, like if you enjoy the video. Share. Share if you know of someone who would greatly benefit from what it is that we just talked about. Subscribe for more amazing content and tickle that little bell icon to get notifications for upcoming videos. And I will see you later. Oh, check out ebsarizona.com for more information about our services and sign up for a discovery session today. La 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 la. All right.